That's something I'm working on with my partner, Amit. She's we're working together, partnering on this idea for like, what is that story? You know what I mean? Like, what is our story? Because you know, the Selena quote, you know, you're too Mexican for Americans, you're too American for the Mexicans. You kind of fit in this weird in between.
Detroit versus everybody.
Well, it's one of the most recognizable slogans in the area, Detroit versus everybody. It was started by a Detroit grad whose career took him across the country.
As we wrap up this Black History Month, meet the man responsible for this multi-million-dollar business that's changing the way people view Detroit and creating jobs.
If you don't own some of his iconic merchandise, then you've definitely seen it. Tommy Walker is a Cass Tech grad with a deep-rooted love for his city. He's a graphic designer, and he's also the man behind one of the most well-known Black-owned businesses in Detroit.
I was born in the city of Detroit. I grew up in Ralph Bunche Co-op. You know what I'm saying? Right downtown off of Jefferson.
To say Tommy Walker is passionate about his hometown is an understatement. The Cass Tech grad became a graphic designer. In his 20s, he worked as a creative director for several well-known record labels like Def Jam. Traveling across the country made him realize he didn't like the way Detroit was being represented.
Don't complain, contribute. You know, it's like, yes, we got to talk about the problem in order to locate it. But at what point do we focus our energy to pivot from talking about it to solving it? And I thought to myself, what can I do, you know, to change the narrative, to show everybody what it is that I was actually experiencing.
Now, one, what does that mean to a Detroiter? And two, more directly, who have been some of the rivals of the Detroit scene? Like when they come through, you're like, it's on. Or when you go to their scene or their state or city, you're like, yo, we're from Detroit and we're versus everybody.
Is that everybody? On the rival side of things, I mean, I go into places, I got my homies, but I also like just have that mentality where it's just like, I'm the only one traveling out here. I got to rep for us. Let me start some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and it's just always been like that kind of mentality where I'm just like, all right, cool. Yeah, you'll probably smoke me, but you're going to remember me. You're going to remember this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, and you might get over on me. You guys might, you know, I might not make it past this, but I'm in the Cyphers. And it's not always necessarily like on some battling, bullying type stuff. Like, I'm like, let me make some noise. Let me make a voice. Let me, you know, like, let me do those things, you know? And it's like, I can go out there and like, you know, be versus everybody, because it's like, let me get on the mic and scenes and introduce myself. Like, who does that? I did that in Vegas. You know what I mean? And I was just like, yo, I just want to let y'all know I'm out here. And now you know who I am, so you know where to go.
Right.
Like, there ain't no reason y'all can't come out this way and stuff like that. I met a bunch of people in Phoenix and did the same thing and stuff like that. Like, I kept telling everybody, yo, it's like, it really is like Detroit versus everybody. Like that mentality like that we have in the city, it's like, you know, whether you're east side, west side, you know, doesn't matter what side it is, 7 Mile. Nobody reps up 8 Mile, by the way. Nobody reps 8 Mile. You're either on 6 Mile, 7 Mile, Werner. There's a lot better streets to rep than 8 Mile. We don't even claim that in the movie.
I think I don't want to misrepresent my boy's words, but I think he said 8 Mile is just the divider between the city and the suburbs.
Yep,
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, and if it wasn't
Everybody
for the
like
movie,
stays off 8 Mile, but they rather rep their rather than the east and west divide, they rep, because 8 Mile doesn't mean you're from anywhere. You could be in Ferndale in 8 Mile. You could be, you know, but everybody, I'm on Finkel, I'm on Schaefer and 8, I'm on Evergreen and 8, you know, and then
right.
I'm on Van Dyke and 8. You're like, hey, stay over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that fool from Van Dyke, I ain't fucking with him. You know, like those kind of things, like grass.
I'm laughing, but I don't even know what that exactly means, but I got an idea of what that means. Yeah.
That's like complete other hood. We're nowhere in Southwest, we're nowhere near 8 Mile. So it like has no effect on us, whatever. But anyway, so like, you know, the whole idea like that, like Detroit versus everybody else going in other scenes is like, I've always told everybody, like, go be remembered by, you know, letting people know who you are, like, and shaking hands and being fun is for after. But this, you know, there's 4 hours, 6 hours of this event. You got 6 hours to get down in those ciphers and let people know. Like, let them be friends after, like, you know, and again, it's not being disrespectful. It's just get in that cipher, like cut people off, like let them know, stand for something, you know, like make some noise, you know, make a voice, like, you know, rep where you're from. Like, you don't let people cut in front of you at the gas station. The hell you letting somebody cut in front of you at the cipher? You know what I mean? Like, so that's like my mentality. Like when I'm out there, it's like, oh, hell no, you just walked in front of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no doubt.
and popping off loud, you know, and like, and stuff like, you know, what up though?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's our, you know, that's our stuff, you know, like there's so much to that and everything. Oh, I got one for you real quick. Do you know what buffs are?
I do, because of my boy. They're the glasses, right? Yeah.
Although they may seem frivolous to outsiders, Cartier glasses are a status symbol in the city, and for over 30 years, they remained a staple in Detroit fashion and culture. With a retail price that's since jumped to $2,650 and up for the most popular frames, they've also become deeply associated with crime. They're referred as Carties, Sticks, or Yays. For a while, the most fashionable design were the woods, made with Bubinga lumber and wire frames with the lenses fixed with a gold rim. But today, at the top of Detroit's Cartier eyewear hierarchy are the all-white buffs, immortalized by local rapper Rich Ken on a song of the same name. The whiter the buffs, the more coveted the frames. And D. Mills, as he was known to his friends, wore a pair that was white as ivory the night he died. Daryl Miller was just 20 years old in the summer of 2010 when he was killed for a pair of Cartier sunglasses.
Yeah, they like, it's like for a while they were like, it was like, right, like you weren't getting your chain snatched, you were getting your buff snatched. Yeah, fools are going after Cartier glasses, and they're like 2-3 stacks, like 2-3 grand. For like a pair of, and they called them buffs because the side of it was they had woods, which were just like a wood grain, like the sticks, right? So they called them sticks because they didn't have this little curve thing, so they call them sticks. So you had the wood sticks or the buff sticks, and the wood sticks had the were just like a piece, like wood grain looking and stuff like that, Cartier frame. But the buffs were white buffalo, so that's why they're called buffs. That's why they're called buffs, is because they're white buffalo. And it's this, like, you know, Detroit thing.
And you could lose your life over something if you're going the wrong place.
$2,000 glasses, bro. Like, I don't get it. I mean, they do have some like real high end ones, but I don't even bother looking at that because I will buy them.
No doubt.
There's part of me that's like, yo, I gotta walk into a jam with some buffs by the end of the year. Like I'll win right. In the city, but like, you know, and that's like. That's some Detroit versus everybody stuff. Like, what was the first part? My bad, I forgot the first part. I answered.
No, that was what does that mean? And then what have been some rival cities to Detroit?
Rival cities, I feel like, has always been Chicago. Like we've always had a rivalry with Chicago. Chicago's. There's always been a rivalry, at least for me personally. I don't know about the younger gen. We never looked at Ohio as anything. Like there was Taekwondo. Outside of that, it was just like, it's Ohio. I don't even want to drive through there. Like
it seemed like the attitude already just being because of even the universities and the history of the states. Like it's just like, all right. And didn't even I don't want to say it wrong, but didn't Michigan and Ohio get into a war at one point, like way back, like in the 1800s or something like that?
It was 1835, and it looked like war was on the horizon. A force of more than 1,000 troops had arrived in disputed territory, occupying the largest town in the area, making it the center of their defense. The townspeople may have had their own opinions over who the land belonged to, but they knew that their future depended upon which army could defend their claim. Just to the south, another force had arrived to defend their position over who owned the disputed territory. The forces represented the state of Ohio and the then territory of Michigan. And the land over which they were preparing to go to war was the then small town of Toledo.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but anyway,
you know,
but yeah.
and it's like, it's Ohio. Like, it's like y'all like corn is what y'all rep, like, but not even like the right kind of corn, like maize, like Mexican corn. Like, we'll rep all that. That's children of the sun. My homegirl's got the corn tattooed on her and stuff like that. That's our legacy. This is not the same thing. Like, but it just, yeah, we never really had like a rivalry with Ohio. I had a good rivalry with Busy Brooks out there for a little bit and stuff like that in Cleveland. That was fun just because that city felt like Detroit. And we just happened to cross paths a few times, butt heads, and just have fun. And it was all breaking. It was never disrespectful. Chicago got kind of like heated a few times and stuff like that with us, and just they would always come over. They've always kind of been like a big brother picking on a little brother with us. So like we've always, eventually we got some, did some push-ups and we're able to hit back.
There you go.
That was like our rivalry, but it was always, like, and then I guess like the meaning of Detroit versus everybody is just like, I feel like it happened in breaking too. It didn't matter where we were repping for each other over like our little stuff. We were more concerned with that identity of like Detroit, just because like when you again to the parts about the city infrastructure and stuff like that, like, yo, we need each other. Like, we have to be versus everybody. It can't be, I'm just gonna do this alone. Nobody in the city has ever like had that mentality. Like, I did this, I pulled myself up. Like, I'm big on this phrase of village state of mind. Like, it really does take a village, from raising my son to starting the academy to myself, my own personal growth. It took a village, like it always takes a village. And like, that's very counter to like capitalism and,
individualism.
And Eurocentric views of like, I did it and stuff like that, like was opposed to like, no, this took a village. This takes all of us. You know what I mean? Like, this takes, everybody has their input on it. And when somebody makes it, they represent that village. That's why I go so hard for my neighborhood. Like, when I talk about Southwest and I talk about my neighborhood, it's because there's so much that keeps us up. House of Jit is at the studio and they pay a couple bucks and we keep it affordable, like for them to be able to use the space to practice, to rehearse. And then they go on and they drop our name when they're on like Foot Locker commercials and stuff like that. And it's dope. And it's like, because at the same time, anytime we have anything, we make sure to bring them on and put them on. So it's like all of us supporting each other. Halim and Hardcore Detroit, we always make sure like, hey, yo, like I'll reach out and figure out some things and bring them on for stuff, that I feel like is a space he's definitely like, when they start talking about like historical Detroit hip hop breaking, who's the blah, 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 man. It's like, yo, let me bring in Halim for this conversation. Let me bring in Strings for this conversation. Like, before y'all start labeling that for me, because that's not me, because he existed way before I did. Well, not way before, but like he existed before I did, and the rights are there. So it's like, it really is this Detroit versus everybody. Tommy, he went to Cass. You know what I mean? And like the way he got his stuff started, it was just that. And it's dope because it's just like, you've seen every city see how dope that was, that they replicated. There was Cincinnati versus the world, Cleveland versus the world or some shit. That's what started it, actually. Was the really? Cleveland versus the world shirts. We were laughing at them and they got pissed. So we're like, all right, bet. And I wore Detroit versus everybody. That's the original. And I'm just over there. I just love talking shit. So
right.
And then, so we did all that, and then we go, and then we see it elsewhere and stuff like that. Now it's kind of a staple for every city to have their versus everybody, but it's like, where'd that start?
You already know. No doubt. Speaking of Detroit, fill in the blank. You've really been to the D if...
Which was like vendor food. So like chicken strips, hot dogs, burgers, right? And then eventually they started serving breakfast. And like, they're known for ill breakfast spots, like 24/7.
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Also, feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Beyond the Cypher. Let us know how we're doing down in the comment section. And to make sure you don't miss anything from the channel, smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support. Peace. Until the next episode.